Mr. Gingrich, Steve Grove, nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in today. This will be a lot of fun. You're a YouTube celebrity, so this only makes sense. Very cool. Let's hop back here. We're going to pose a few YouTube questions for you. Well, Mr. Gingrich, welcome to YouTube.
Good to be here.
You've certainly been here for a while. We were just talking 3 YouTube videos on the side of yours have over 1 million views. You have 4 or 5 different YouTube channels. I understand today that you're actually launching a contest on YouTube in which one lucky YouTuber will win free gas for a year on your dime. Tell us about that contest.
Well, if you go to American Solutions video contest, we're offering 1 year of free gasoline to whoever wins a contest to make a video about, we have a petition drive called Drill Here, Drill Now, Pay Less. And so this contest is Drill Here, Drill Now, Pay Nothing. And anybody who wants to can submit a video on why they think it's right for us to create more energy here in the U.S. and why they would favor it. The rules are there at American Solutions video contest. And it's kind of exciting. As you know, we also have a sort of a cute video that we created at American Solutions that introduces the contest. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how many people pick up on it and submit it and see who actually wins.
Free gas for a year.
That's right.
Tell us about American Solutions. You started this last fall, and it's a group really for Democrats, Republicans, Independents, for average citizens really to submit their answers to America's toughest challenges. They can submit them by text, by video. Tell us a little bit about the kind of response you've gotten. And in a broader context, how do you think the American public is grappling with the biggest challenges that we face right now?
Well, we created American Solutions in part because when we went out and talked to people and we did several surveys, overwhelmingly the American people said they wanted fundamental fixes, not just quick fixes. They wanted things really solved for the long run. Overwhelmingly they said that took all 513,000 elected officials, not just the president. And then we began doing a series of surveys that became the platform of the American people, and we tried to create a tripartisan majority. That is, to be in the platform of the American people, the issue has to be supported by a majority of Democrats, a majority of Republicans, and a majority of independents, all 3. And we were surprised to discover something like 120 issues where you actually have a majority of all 3. So it makes you wonder, as we put it, it's a red, white, and blue solution rather than a red versus blue political fight. And so we have begun to build, we'll have our Solutions Day on September 27th, which will be on the internet and on television, coming out of Atlanta. And we'll look at energy, education, infrastructure, health, fundamentally fixing the government, and education. And these are key areas that we think the American people want to have real solutions no matter who the president is. They want to see people get together to make sure that America is as competitive and as productive in the future as it has been in the past.
One of the YouTube users who actually participated in American Solutions, his name is Stan628, submitted this question on video.
Hello, Mr. Gingrich, and I'd like to first of all say that I went to AmericanSolutions.com and did sign the petition, and I contacted my representative in Congress. I was wondering if ANWR would continue to be an issue that's debated or be accepted by Congress and be allowed to drill there. Thank you.
Well, Stan, that's a good question. My guess is that eventually, with the right kind of environmental safeguards, the part of ANWR people are talking about is less than 5% of the entire reserve. Interestingly, the caribou herds have grown faster in the area that's been developed than they've grown in the wilderness area. And I think people are looking now with a new eye to the size of the area we're talking about. But there is so much oil available at ANWR that people know is there. It's the largest single reserve in the United States today, that I suspect at some point, as the price of gasoline stays too high, and as we send too much money overseas to foreigners, $700 billion a year that we're paying to foreigners, some of whom are dictatorships, I think people are going to want to use American energy resources. But that's a good question. I'm glad you went to American Solutions and signed the petition.
You know, it's interesting. You've partnered with current Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, to raise awareness around global warming. One of our YouTube users, J.L. Fonz from Avalon, Wisconsin, asks, Newt, what were you thinking when you made that commercial with Pelosi? Don't you know how much damage you did to your credibility? Why did you partner with Speaker Pelosi if the solutions that you and the Democrats have differ in terms of cap and trade versus tax breaks, et cetera?
Well, I partnered with her because I wanted to set a standard that we ought to be able to sit on the same couch and have a conversation, that we ought to be able to sit like here and have a conversation. I think, as I said a while ago, when we discovered that there were 120 plus issues on which you have an absolute majority of Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, I don't think we have to spend our life looking for reasons to hit each other. And she and I would disagree on some key things, but there are other places where I believe, with a spirit of getting together on a tripartisan basis, you can get a lot done in this country. When I was Speaker, we passed welfare reform, we cut taxes, we balanced the federal budget for 4 years. That all took reaching out and getting Democrats as well as Republicans to get something done.
In particular, on the issue of carbon emissions, where do you see the solutions that you've put out there aligning with the current House Representative?
Well, I think that we have to first of all recognize that there has to be a transition. You have 240 million cars and trucks that use gasoline and diesel, and you can't say to the American people, you're going to go bankrupt or you're going to have to walk. So you've got to have a transition strategy. I'm very much for clean coal, and I think clean coal is a vital part of this. And there's pretty good evidence we can sequester the carbon and use coal without having the carbon go back in the atmosphere. I'm very much for nuclear power. We're going to do both a book that'll be out in September on energy and a movie at the end of September called We Have the Power, which will be on energy. And we were just filming at 3 Mile Island, which has been producing nuclear power, and not a single person has ever been hurt, even though it's a very famous name. It turned out in the end all the systems worked and nobody was hurt, and it still today produces energy. If we produced as much electricity from nuclear power as the French do, 71% of their electricity, we would take 2,200,000,000 tons of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere.
Really?
That's how big the difference would be.
Wow. I want to turn to politics for a moment because a lot of our users asked you political questions. One of them was a YouTube user who calls himself the Teen Conservative.
Speaker Gingrich, given the constant media refrain of a Democratic tsunami in November, what can the Republicans do right now, if anything, to turn that around?
Well, let me just say, first of all, my impression is, if you look at the latest polls, they're very close. There doesn't seem to exactly be a tsunami, and I think part of it's because Senator Obama, although he's very attractive and he's very intelligent, has, I think, sort of run into a ceiling and doesn't seem to be able to get much higher than his current poll numbers. And Senator McCain just keeps chugging along and just had 3 great days in Pennsylvania campaigning. So I don't think there's going to be a tsunami. I think this is going to be a very closely fought campaign down to the end. And my view is that YouTube and talk radio and email, and I do a newsletter every Tuesday. You can get it at newt.org for free. That goes out to almost 800,000 people. We live in an age of extraordinary diversity of information, and I don't think the elite media has the impact it had 15 years ago.
You're both friends with John McCain, but have also come on the other side of issues with him several times in the past. Do you support his candidacy right now?
Absolutely. I think if you give me a choice, because I am a conservative, and if I'm going to choose between Senator McCain and Senator Obama, I may disagree with Senator McCain 10% of the time, but I'll probably disagree with Senator Obama 80% of the time. So there's not much choice in that kind of characteristic.
Well, Speaker Gingrich, you've been famous known as a fiscal conservative, and we wanted to end this interview with a game called phonic conservatism, which means you get 1-sentence answer to these 3 quick questions from YouTube users. First one is from Ryan Favre on government spending. He says, can fiscal conservatives trust the Republican Party again?
No, you can't trust anybody. You have to watch them, verify them, stay on top of them. But we did balance the budget before, and we can do it again.
Chesadog asks this question. For Newt Gingrich, would it be feasible to start a campaign, similar to the Drill Here, Drill Now campaign, to pose a ballot question during a presidential election year that all 50 states impose term limits on Congress?
You could.
Wow, that was some serious phonic conservatism. And the last question comes from JTI7. He says, Dear Newt, of all the wonderful things I wish for in our country, the number one thing I wish is that you will be our president. Would this ever be a possibility? I'm keeping hope alive.
Well, America's a great country and many good things happen, and who knows, 2012 and 2016 are down the road.
Well, thank you very much, Speaker,
Great
for
to
coming
be
with
here.
us today.
Thank you. It's great fun.